All right, we're going to resume with day 2 of the hallway project. Yesterday you cited the horizontal and vertical sides of your back wall. Some of you guys might have done a back wall and middle back wall according to the instruction sheets like this, where you see a little bit of the wall here. One thing that I didn't mention is that some of you will have a back wall that has a door frame in it, like so. Don't worry about drawing this today, but when the time comes, there'll actually be like a hallway here that goes back and forth. There's a back wall here, but you don't see any sides of any walls because no walls keep on going. This is just a hallway that kind of cuts across this way. So there is a chance that some of you will have a hallway like this, especially if you're on the English hall and you're facing toward the library. But that's not what this video is mostly about today, but I wanted to just mention that to clear up some confusion, because when I've been referring to middle back walls, I've been talking about a whole wall that is in front of a full back wall where you see a little bit of walls on the left and right hand side. Today what you're going to be doing is you're now going to connect your ceiling lines. Hopefully I've given you some input and have told you that your ceiling lines at least look like they're correct. So you would take your ruler, and when you make these lines, you wouldn't connect it from here to this big old tick mark. You would do it to the end of the paper like this. That way it looks really nice and neat, just like you did on your practice worksheets. So you would go ahead and make those connections like so. Pretend like I've done everything that I'm supposed to do. Do not do the horizontal lines yet. The reason why we want to wait on those is that we want to fill in some of our vertical lines over here to make sure we have room for, like, lockers or doors or recessed doorways or windows or whatever it is that we have. Now if you want to, you can go ahead and put in your top 2 brick lines on the sides that have doors or recessed doorways. Let's pretend like I've done my wonderful measurements here, and I've done my wonderful measurements here. Now you notice that my measurements are right here. Well, why? Well, in this case, the line went off the top of the page. This one went on the side. I couldn't measure from here to here because I'd be missing about this much wall. Okay, so what I did was I dropped a vertical line straight down. So you can lightly draw these 2 lines if you want to. Do it lightly, because what's going to happen is, and I'm not using a ruler so you can see how sloppy it looks, but when you do doorways, you're going to have to erase some of those lines out. So, and the reason why we want these 2 doors here, this is going to help you get your doors in. Now what you're going to do is you're going to focus on some vertical lines. For instance, when you're looking at your hallway, and it doesn't have to be a 100% exact representation, but look at the sets of lockers. You may not necessarily need to have 1, 2, 3, 4 sets. You might be able to do 2 or 3 instead. You're going to see recessed doorways in here, and there's going to be places where you see a doorway that's recessed where you actually see the door. I would like for you to include, either on the left or the right side, because you can change it a little bit, a recessed doorway, kind of like what we did in our hallway worksheet right here, where we created a recessed doorway. I'd like to see one of these at the front or the back, and sometimes you'll see more or less of the wall depending on your view, so you'll have to use a little bit of information there. But when we're doing that, we have to use a kind of a little bit of siding. You don't necessarily have to use exact siding, but you could say, here's one set of lockers. How big is this set compared to this set? Wow, it takes about 3 sets of these to equal one of these. You don't even necessarily have to get that exact relationship, but have something. So let's see, if you had a hallway where the doors, and some of you will, have doors that are perfectly, even with the hallway, it's going to be just like what we did in the hallway worksheet. It's just going to line up with the second row of bricks. It's going to come straight down. There's nothing recessed. If you have something that's recessed, you will have, let's say you have one way down here. You're going to have a vertical line that goes all the way up from floor to ceiling. A vertical line goes all the way up to floor to ceiling. It would help to probably erase away your brick lines here. Put in a horizontal line here. Make sure you use your ruler to butt everything up. And then this is a recessed doorway. Eventually, don't do your bricks, don't connect all your bricks yet, just maybe the top 2. But eventually, you're going to have a horizontal line here, a horizontal line. You'll actually have a horizontal line all the way down, but you will not see the door at all. Mr. Norris, what if I have a door in my picture where the door is open and it comes out and it covers up that recessed hall? Well, if it does, it's only going to go up to 2 bricks like this. And you don't have to show doors that are open in your picture or your photograph. You can if you think it makes it interesting. I pretend like as if they aren't there at all, and then at the end, if I'm like, this is kind of boring to have all these just recessed doorways, I might want to throw a random door or 2 in there. I could. Then I could come in and do it like so. Mr. Norris, what if I have a door on this entryway? Well, if the door is perfectly flat and even, it's going to be right here like a rectangle. But if it is angling toward you, if it's coming toward you, okay, this angle will have to go up, this angle will have to go down, and this will have to go like so. And this would be a door that's maybe propped open part of the way on that back hall. Some of you guys have those, so there's a chance you may end up drawing those. If you have, let's say, lockers, let's pretend like the lockers in this hallway are, and by the way, there are bricks up here. It's hard to see them, but they're here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could go to the 5th brick line down, or if you want to do 4.5 to be exact, you can, but you can go to the 5th brick line down. And let's say you go to the 5th brick line down, sorry, kind of frozen me. Let's say you go down to the 5th brick line down here, and let's say the 5th brick line is here. You actually would count the brick lines, and this would give you, you could put this line in because it's going to show you the height of your lockers. If you want to do that, you can. You can go ahead and figure out, okay, where's this first set of lockers going to be? Where's the second set of lockers going to be? Am I going to have room for, you know, a recessed, you know, doorway in here for my hall? These are things to think about. Remember that there are technically no bricks above a lot of these lockers in the hallways, but there are brick lines that meet these recessed doorways that go all the way up. Like you see in this picture right here. There's bricks at the end of this one. There's bricks at the end of this one. There's even white bricks up here that show up. This area is really flat, has nothing. But I'm okay with you connecting bricks in there later if you want to. But tomorrow or today, what you want to do is you want to focus on just putting in vertical lines for lockers, recessed doorways, doors that are maybe flat or flush on the front of your door if you have that. Maybe if you have a column. Some of you guys have columns in your hallway. To do a column, your column would go, and this is for people who have the courtyard hallway. If you have a column, what's going to happen is that column is going to go all the way from the ceiling to the floor. It's going to come onto the floor, onto the ceiling. You're going to make a skinny rectangle. You're going to angle this line similar to this one, not perfectly parallel, but it would gradually taper like down to here. This would gradually taper down to here, and then you cut it off here, and you're going to have a column that is standing on here. These brick lines will be flat, but you won't put these in until later. When you connect all of your brick lines, you'll be able to put those in, and these will angle. But we can talk more about that at a later date. If you have windows, maybe count how many brick lines there are. Are there 5 or 6 brick lines down? Are there 5 or 6 brick lines down here? You could take your ruler. I told you not to connect all the bricks, but if you need to connect a couple of vertical lines to help you at the top of lockers, at the top of windows, you can do that. And you've got windows that are right here. And as far as how you divide those windows in the courtyard hallway, you just make them even with the brick lines that are closest to those windows. I know this is not a perfectly detailed explanation, but I feel like maybe just seeing it done quickly, in addition to the instructions and your previous experience that you've had on the hallway worksheet, as well as your observation of the pictures, should be able to help you get a little further along on day 2 of the hallway project. Best wishes and happy drawing.